you have two of your kids and you just tell them, here's a competition for you. Whoever can fuck the most women gets a reward. Hello everyone, today I'm watching Scandalous Popes of the Middle Ages by Salmonella Academy. Now, I've heard that in the past, popes have been bribed with money, and similar things. So I do wonder what the most scandalous things they could... What are the most scandalous things they could possibly do? Let's check it out.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hey kids, time to alienate 23.9% of the United States from my potential audience, because today we're
only 23.9% of the US is actually Catholic?
We're talking popes.
Wow.
Now don't get me wrong, the modern papacy is a great thing.
I mean, it
Just
is
a
the United
genuinely
States.
virtuous man being elected to govern and set an example for Christians everywhere. That's awesome. But back in the day, not so. See, in the Middle Ages, the church was one of the greatest powers in the Western world, having massive influence over monarchs and laymen alike. And as we know, with great power comes great tomfoolery. Here's some of the less wholesome popes that history has to offer.
Good
Pope
old
Stephen
Uncle
VI
Ben.
assumed the pontificate in May of 896, during a time of great instability for the papacy, where rulers and families of all different shapes and sizes were vying for influence over the Catholic Church. As such, success...
Back in those times, if you could get the Pope on your side, you were pretty powerful, because the Catholic Church, it really was a powerhouse back then. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that monarchs had to be crowned by the Pope. I think. At least, I believe it was like that during times of the Holy Roman Empire. But I'm not completely sure. I never really studied or checked out anything about the history of popes.
Successive popes from this period often had different ideas about how things should be run. Stephen, for example, didn't much care for Pope Formosus, the guy before last. Why? It's complicated. Even if I could wrap my head around all this, it'd probably be boring as hell, so just take it on good faith that Steve had a lot of beef with
I'm not
Formosus.
reading all of that.
So much beef, or as we call it, papal bull, that Stephen couldn't even be happy that the dude was already dead. So he had the 8-month-old corpse of Formosus dug up, dressed up in pope clothes, sat down on a throne, and literally put on trial, with a deacon appointed to give all his responses for him. So you thought you could get away from the law with that little dying stunt of yours. Well, tell me, Mr. Thrombosis, did you violate canon law, commit perjury, and pretend to be a bishop when you weren't? Yes, pasta fazool, I am a fool. I've heard all I need to hear. This court finds you guilty, and everything you did as pope, we legally declare to be fake and dumb and stupid and dumb. Now throw him in the river. What? The river? Can he do that? See the hat? That means I'm Pope. P-O-O-P Pope. You better 3-point that bitch into the briny deep right quick, or I'm gonna raise hell. Metaphorically. So they throw him in the river. This whole thing caused an uproar among Formosus supporters, and after Formosus' corpse was allegedly seen performing miracles at the riverbank, Stephen ended up being overthrown, imprisoned, and executed by strangulation. The body, now slimy and disgusting, was fished out of the Tiber and reinterred in St. Peter's Basilica, where it rests to this day. Next, we'll talk about John the 12th. This guy already looks like one of my characters. Why don't we just, yeah, there we go. This guy ascended to the throne when he was just 18 years old, which is insane.
What?
If I was elected world's biggest hat wearer at that age, you better believe things would get real unpapal real quick. I'm talking gambling, hookers, setting fires, and toasting to the devil. And when you know it, these are all things John the 12th did.
Oh my god. Can you even be a pope if you're that young? I thought one of the requirements to be a pope was being really fucking old. Maybe it wasn't back then.
It said that he took the sacred
People
palace
did not
and
live as long
literally
back then
made it
as
into
well,
a
so,
whorehouse. Matter of fact, while researching the guy, I stumbled across this list of sexually active popes. This is a real Wikipedia article. Take a hike, toilet paper orientation. Daddy's got a new favorite. John is featured prominently. The article. Take a hike.
There's a toilet paper orientation Wikipedia article? There is only one correct way to place toilet paper, and that's the one on the left here. This one, the over orientation. If you use the under orientation, you're a freak. Go kill yourself. I'm kidding. But you're fucking weird, okay? Do not use this second one. It's weird, it's stupid, it makes no sense.
Toilet paper orientation, Daddy's got a
Why
new
am I
favorite.
debating this?
John is featured prominently on this list, of course. He had a thing for widows for some reason. Personally, I'm not big on
that's
weepy old
weird.
hags. I'm more of a carefree young hag type of guy, but to each their own. He also banged his niece a bunch, which not the most virtuous act, but you know, Middle Ages and bloodlines.
Yeah, okay,
and
yeah, that's...
His playboy lifestyle eventually caught up to him, though, leading to the Synod of Rome, where everyone got together to talk about what a piece of shit he is so they could kick him off the throne. Besides all the deviancy, there was a lot of things they had problems with. For one, someone once offered John some money to ordain a 10-year-old as a bishop, and he was just like, alright, I would have done it for free, honestly. Look how big those robes are on him, that's hilarious. He also had a deacon ordained in a horse stable, just like, oh, for fuck's sake, alright, let's get this over with. Shouldn't we be doing this in like a church? Listen, bucko, if it's good enough for Jesus to be born in, it's good enough for you to have your little cargo party.
That's fair.
Sorry,
that's
party,
fair.
He's just a deacon. Not if you keep running your mouth, you aren't. He also liked going on hunting trips now and then, generally considered to be something popes don't do. Although my suspicion is that they were just tired of cleaning his big stupid camo hat every time. Probably his worst act, though, was putting on a helmet, followed closely in second by the time one of his subdeacons got on his nerves, so he literally cut off his dick and murdered him. So between all this and some conflict with Otto I of the Holy Roman Empire, John was uncanonically
He just cut off someone's dick.
963. Except as soon as Otto left Rome, nobody was there to pressure him off physically anymore. So
to be fair, at least he killed him afterwards, so it's not that bad, you know? If he just cut off his dick, that would be pretty bad, but he cut off his dick and then he murdered him. So it's not... It could have been worse. He could have made him suffer longer.
So John was like, lol, just kidding, rounded up all his groupies, kicked the new pope off the throne, and continued his role like nothing happened by early 964. But just a few months later, fate caught up with John.
Just kill him.
He died the way he lived, committing adultery. Now let's be real. He caught up with John, and he died the way he lived, committing...
John died whilst enjoying an adulterous sexual encounter outside Rome, either as the result of apoplexy or at the hands of an outraged husband. I assume, and I hope it's the second one, because that's more funny. It's funnier.
Adultery. Now let's be real. We all have our little guilty pleasures in life. Some people like a nice bag of Cheetos. Others like scented candles or poorly drawn educational videos. Alexander VI liked watching horses fuck. According to Vatican Chronicler,
he liked watching horses fuck. Oh my god. Why?
Johann Burckhardt, he would specifically arrange for his stallions to be introduced to mares in heat outside his palace, and he'd stand up on his balcony to watch them violently mate, which just tickled him pink for some fucking reason, and he'd laugh uproariously during the entire spectacle. He also once threw a party in the palace called the Banquet of Chestnuts, also referred to as the Joust of Whores. Wait a minute. Horse jousting. Horses banging. Was dyslexia a thing back then? Nah, but during the banquet, Alexander had 50 of Rome's finest raggedy harlots line up and strip down for him and his guests, which, by the way, included 2 of his children, which, by the way, he had many children, but at this point hardly a concern. Guests began throwing chestnuts at the ladies, who got down on their hands and knees and scrambled frantically, like the cook at Denny's when they held him at gunpoint, trying to collect as many as they could. After this went on for a while, Alexander was like, alright kiddos, game time. Whoever can bang the most broads before the night's over wins Rome's finest silks, and the only condition is that anybody who makes a joke about nutting on someone's chest gets disqualified. Too easy. This is all according to that one Johann guy, mind you. Some secondary sources differ pretty significantly on the more lurid details of all this, so do take it with a grain of salt. But at the same time, this guy was the official record taker for the ceremonies he was involved with, so it seems
just imagine there's 50 naked women. You have 2 of your kids and you just tell them, here's a competition for you. Whoever can fuck the most women gets a reward.
Equally likely to be that the other guys just wanted to save a bit of face, but who knows. In the end, primary sources are usually the most reputable source of information. After all, what better way to learn about stuff than from people who have direct experience in the subject? That's why you need to try Skillshare. Skillshare is an online...
Okay, that's the end of the video. Yeah, those popes were very interesting. I think that's the nicest way to describe them. They definitely shouldn't have been popes. None of them. Yeah, just like, subscribe, comment. Link to my Discord server is down in the description below. Check that out if you want. And I'll see you in the next video.